Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
Sienna eyes, copper coils, cinnamon thighs, honey-hued haze, brown butter lips, chestnut cheekbones, earth-hugging hips, coffee all shades, coconut brown, chocolate smiles, melanin crowns, sepia souls, sienna eyes.
Grand risings, grand risings, grand risings. Hope everybody out there taking care of themselves. Hope everybody vibrating on the law of vibration. Peace, prosperity, abundance, gratefulness, gratitude. You feel me? So, caring and loving in nature. Vibrate on love, elevate. So, peace and prosperity, if I haven't already said that. Anyway, let's get into it. Welcome back to Signs Before the Conscious Mind. What we gonna be talking about today? Indigenous Americans. You and me. Aborigines. You and me. What y'all thought I was done talking about indigenous folks? Nah, man. I'm back on it. So with that being said, I ain't gonna make this intro too long or hold y'all no further. You feel me? Just gonna get into it. And I'ma holler back at you. Check out these clips.
The Aztec temple. Now you see the brothers with the feathers. You even see some of the brothers in a Muslim-ish garb. This is in ancient Mexico. This is what they are hiding. This is Mexico before the conquistadors colonized it. Now you gotta understand you had enemies of the Aztec, which were pre-Columbian invaders, or what you'll call present-day population. However, they sided with the Spanish against the Black Aztec to help overthrow their rulership elite. And the slave or the prisoner, they got captive, and what you see is the Black Aztec right here. This is what you call present-day Negro, Black African American.
Y'all been following me for a long time. What have I always told y'all about the Mexicans that's walking around today? Okay, y'all seen the clips, y'all seen the footage, the videos. Now, use your mind. Sit and think. Pause the video if you need to, and just sit and think. And go to these Mexican restaurants and look at them. And then look at the Aztecs and Incas and Mayans that be on their wall and shit like that. I showed y'all how Mayans and Aztecs and Incas depicted themselves. Copper colored skin, tattoos, locks, tall and definitionally toned and statured. This is how the Mayans depicted themselves. Grills. This is how the Aztecs depicted themselves. This is how the Incas depicted themselves. So now, take that and step outside of your comfort zone of institutionalized indoctrination schooling system, compulsory schooling system. Y'all need to look up the definition of compulsory. They use it compulsory schooling system for a reason. Step outside of that shit and look. Look. The Mayans never died out. They migrated. We migrated. Those who had to fled, which was the women and children, while the men fought, the women and children migrated to protect the kids. Very few women stayed and fight, the warriors and shit like that. But majority of the women, their job was to get the kids away while the men handled their grounds. We'll catch up with y'all when we done. Some caught back up. Some didn't, unfortunately. But the Mayans and the Aztecs and everything, me and you. Our genes, I showed y'all artifacts and footages, which I'm going to show y'all some more in these videos, of the Mayans and Aztecs and Incas, how they depicted themselves. And now look, Come on, man. They say our genes is strong. They are strong. We the only ones that's still walking around with grills, fully tatted, locks. We still beat on beat, all like sounds for the conscious mind. Let's go, man. Y'all gonna get this work.
That's a ancient American hairstyle locks have always been.
You tell they're siblings, but notice the different hair textures. The brothers are wearing wigs. Shocking, I know, right? We didn't know this. That's very clearly a wig. They wore extensions. Look at the baby hair swoop, but you see no part, just like a modern quick weave. Did you know that they use heat and processes very similar to perms, just like the Indians of Hindustan still do to this day? So when we look at these older pictures, we have to apply a modern ideology. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that's being invented. All these old techniques are very ancient. So our ancestors did use heat to straighten out their curls. Look at this amazing transformation. How do we know? Look at the burn marks on his forehead. You see that?
Or you got to think about how long this plan of brainwashing and coming after this land was in play, man. We talking about 1400s. So by the time they got to the 17 and 1800s, they already had their propaganda ready. They already had certain people in place to discover artifacts and shit like that. You never seen a black archaeologist person from the hood. You never seen a nigga from the hood, go to school, go to college, graduate, become an archaeologist and travel the world and finding shit and coming back and telling us shit, do you? No, because the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds got their hands in archaeology. Come on, y'all. Connect the dots. I'm trying to tell y'all. These people bloodlines is behind the reason why you don't know your bloodline. And these people are the reason why other poor, low-level white folks is still keeping this racism game going. Black folks just want to be left the fuck alone in that peace and have equality and justice, and you know what I'm saying? We just want that and pretty much be left the fuck alone. But everybody else keep fucking with us though. So let me tell you, before these people, who took the picture? Y'all gotta ask, who took the picture? Native Americans, indigenous people, we didn't have cameras back then. We was living off of earth. We didn't know. And some of our cultures, our grandmothers and great-grandmothers wouldn't even let you take their picture. My grandma roommate, you cannot take her picture. You want to know why you can't take her picture? Because they say that cameras take your soul. And cameras reveal spiritual realms. That's why when you take a picture, you can see orbs and shit like that. Like stuff that you're not supposed to be seeing. You know what I'm saying? But who took the picture? So before you took the picture, let me go and slap this wig on you real quick. So we can go ahead and start brainwashing people and tell them to straight hair, woo woo. Which at the same time, we are the original people. So therefore we got all kinds of genetics. So it would make sense that there's some indigenous people that's dark skinned with straight hair, some with afro, some with like for real. Look around, just look at our people. Not all of our people have coarse and kinky hair. My sister got slick slide hair and she don't perm her shit or nothing. Her shit is natural. She's Panamanian. You heard me? I'm Haitian, Tiano. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta really pay attention. You gotta be aware. You gotta be conscious of this, because they could try and brainwash your heritage physically from books and shit like that, but they can't brainwash your heritage DNA wise. Hence why they attacking our DNA. But look, man, this shit go deep. You heard me? And then the locks. You heard me? Come on, man. The Mayans had locks. They indigenous Americans. They was copper color tattoo, grilled up, barbecuing. They had locks. They found mummies with locks still to this day. Then you got some indigenous people who had straight hair, copper color. That don't, like, come on, man. We come in different shapes, sizes, forms, and phenotypes. The only phenotype that stay the same is our facial structure. High cheekbones, almond eyes, copper color skin, strong jawline, straight teeth, white teeth. All this shit is indigenous. The natural mean mug that we always be having and shit, eyes raised and crooked, looking crazy at people. All this is indigenous features, man. Science for the conscious mind. We gonna wake up. It's important for us to wake up to our indigenous nature. I'ma tell y'all that, because what I told y'all, all this is connected. Once we wake up to our spiritual nature, once we wake up to our indigenous nature, that shit unlocks our spiritual nature and our DNA, because information is electricity. Clear?
Warhorse, chief of the Shatta Nation. You see, the thing about us so-called black people is that we've been brainwashed by Caucasian white supremacy to a point where we wouldn't even think that we were the indigenous people of this land, Arzarit, known as America today. Seriously, how many names did they try to classify us as? Black, Negro, colored people, African American, Afro American. You see that?
Some people were ashamed to even say they was Native American again, especially living in an African American communities, because then they told me they was looked upon as being a traitor or trying to be something that they were not. But then they knew their grandmother wasn't in.
Check out this book called Black Indians. Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans were all related.
Do you believe that the European was that powerful? To bring all these Africans over here?
The Europeans didn't do that.
Yeah.
The Europeans didn't do it, number one. The Europeans, only 5% of the slaves in this country from Africa.
Yeah.
Only 5% of the Africans were slaves in this country.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
You mean to tell me that these people just pissed and shit on each other for months? And remember, shit is toxic. When you ask yourself questions on the slave trade, your indwelling intelligence will kick out the correct answers. If the people were packed in like sardines, how did they eat and drink? What did they eat and drink? What about body waste? You mean to tell me that these people just pissed and shit on each other for months? And remember, shit is toxic.
Come on, man. And then when you ask what the slave ships, they gonna pull up that same one ass slave ship that they found, that same one. I'm telling you, you can pull it up. They gonna keep telling you that same one to try and back up their story. But that same one don't account for what they say, 1.4 million to come over. So you tell me that one ship, 1.4 million, then they be like, well, some ships had sunk. Y'all niggas can find the fucking Titanic, but you can't find slave. Y'all found the Titanic in cold ass ice fucking water, but y'all can't find no damn slave ships off the coast of these Caribbean islands or off the coast of Florida and Virginia and shit like that. But y'all found that one though, but 1.4 million Africans came over here. Come on, y'all. Think about that shit, man. And then think about ships, slave ships at that. If Ships today is made of steel, and they go across the Atlantic Ocean. They all rough and some of them sink and break and shit. They just you mean to tell me a fucking wooden boat with a fucking sheet up here and niggas like, oh, trying to steer it is going through the Atlantic Ocean, and the whole time Africans is at the bottom of the motherfucking ship laying like this, and the shit just, come on, y'all. Think about this shit for real, man. Think about the mind fuck. Stop taking what these people give y'all. Just because a motherfucker got a title, he a teacher, he a professor, he a doctor, he a doctorate, he went to school, that shit don't mean nothing. These people infiltrated this shit. These people run the schools. These people run his story. The loser fucked around and write the story to turn himself into the winner, and we fell for this shit. Man, it's a cold game, bruh. And then you telling me that all these people is laying flat down at the ship like this, pissing and shitting. They throwing up because what? Feces and urine is toxic and people getting sick and they throwing up and they dying. They lost cargo. Back then, it was human trafficking, which is big business still to this day. It was human trafficking. So that means every time a person on that ship died and got sick and they had to toss them overboard, they was losing money. They was losing product. So then they had to think, man, fuck, bro, we can't keep making this trip and losing money and losing product. Why in the fuck are we taking people from over here when there's people that's already here? They didn't wipe them out. They didn't, all them damn smallpox and diseases that they said didn't wipe everybody out. Them smallpox only wiped out a couple of tribes. And a couple of tribes is the tribes that they tell y'all, but there are 560 different tribes, which is 560 million different indigenous people from the West Indies all the way up to the South Americas, to Central America, to North America, to Canada, all the way to Hawaii. AKA The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Come on, man. It's in your face plain as day. Y'all better wake up. They lied to you. Majority of the enslaved people here was not adults. They was kids. Most of the ones they was kids. They was brainwashed. Why you think that the CPS back in the 1800s and 1700s would take the kids from the family? The family wanted to homeschool them so they can keep the tradition and the culture going. CPS didn't like that shit, so they took the kids from the parents and threw them in the system, and they start brainwashing the kids, and the kids was the enslaved while the mothers and the fathers and the adults is way the fuck somewhere else. They probably shipped them to West Africa because over a million indigenous Americans were shipped to West Africa and were shipped to England and were shipped to Spain. They were shipped to India. They were shipped to the West Indies. Yeah. Indigenous Americans from North America were shipped to the West Indies. Y'all better peep. Y'all better peep, gang. That's why it's in the West Indians' nature, as in Haitians, Cubans, Dominicans, Jamaicans. It's all of us. It's natural for us when we leave our islands to go to Florida. Because our ancestors used to run Florida. Why you think Florida's there? You got a little Haiti, a little Puerto Rico, you got a little Cuba, all in Florida. Signs are for the conscious mind. Y'all gonna get this work this morning, man. Hey, vibe high. We dodging the hijack over here, man.
3, 2, 1.